Good morning, good morning. It's still the AM Ghana show. We thank Na Ajama Anyama Collison. Hey, Na, thank you very much for the news just before this one. We are here to do justice to the newspaper headlines and to continue. I am particularly grateful that we've entered into a new month, and it's not just any other month like the rest of them, you know. It's a beautiful month. And for November, and November to remember. And they say N is for notorious. And I want to take that notorious to mean notoriously blessed. And that's why we are here this morning. I'm talking about myself, Julia, and Reginald. Reginald, good morning.
Julie, how are you? Good morning.
I am blessed and highly favored.
Indeed. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
It's been a week without you, and it's not been, as fun as it would be having you. I thank God that, you're here. Well, I don't know about our viewers as well. I don't know how their weekend went. I don't know how yours went. But I'm happy that we are all here. We are live. And it's a new month, a month of celebration, a month of preparation. Because November, the penultimate month of the year, is going to usher us its ultimate month, December. And we thank God indeed, first off, for how far He has brought us from the beginning of the year up until this time. Many of us, after the troubles and the turmoil and the hardship that we have faced throughout the beginning of the year, gave up the hopes of getting towards the end of the year. COVID brought its own problems, its own trouble, and we really didn't believe that we would be here on a 1st November to be speaking to you as well. However, we are here and we give grace and thanks to the Lord God Almighty, and for those who have departed and left us alongside in this journey, may their souls rest in peace. And as we leave, may we continue to fight on, which is why over here this morning at AM Ghana, we're here to do nothing but to serve you with information, updates, and all that you can think of in a morning show like AM Ghana. My name is Adoatv, and welcome to a beautiful week. Welcome to a beautiful Monday, and welcome to a new month, the month of November. And I pray that, as Ijoma says, as N stands for notorious, pray that your month, your day, and your week is notoriously blessed. I'm also blessed and highly favored. Many thanks to our Lord God Almighty, Ijoma. Well, how's your weekend been? You tell me. Take me through.
My weekend? Usually my Saturdays are just chores, and I always say that it is also a blessing to do chores, because at least you get to flex some muscles that you don't usually do during the week. So yes, chores, and then on Saturday, on Sunday, church.
Sunday church.
And then it rained.
It rained yesterday in your area.
Yeah.
How are you managing the rains? For many parts of the country, when the rains come, it's sad news. But for some other parts, when the rain comes, well, some good news. I mean, even in the northern region where we consider, to be doing a lot of farming, now the rain is posing so much threat. People are no longer crying for the rains. How is it in your area?
Well, in my area, Shoman Estate to be precise, it's kind of a hilly area. So it depends on where you find yourself. So we are kind of on a slope. So when it rains, I think the maximum you can see is just a little flooding in some corners of the house, but in no time it all eases off. The only situation we usually have to contend with are bad roads, of course.
Certainly, and it's the year of roads. I think this is the second or third year of the year of roads. We are hoping it wouldn't just be one of those things. We come and then we say it and we go and nothing. Rhetorics. Let's have some practicals in here. My very good friend Selassie says I should inform you that the name is not Na Agbilima but Na Anyama. So let's keep that in mind. A very big thank you to Na Anyama Collison for the AM news. Well, this morning we'll be speaking on a reading. Writing as well. We'll be speaking to a poet and a playwright, and I believe that you're certainly aware who this very person would be. We'll also be speaking about the impact of budgets and fiscal policies on the economy of the nation. Remember, as we are in the third and final quarter of the year, we're expecting that the Finance Committee and the Ministry of Finance rather would present the annual budget and fiscal policy for the coming year 2022. And I must say that the year 2022 is already sounding like jingle bells in my ear. And I can't wait to get there. So be safe in whatever you do, wherever you find yourself. Keep the faith, keep the hope, keep the fire burning, and keep it all alive, because I will definitely see you in 2022. It's 1st November. I know it's early, but go to Mokola right now and you realize that the Christmas trees are already on sale. The Christmas decorations, amongst other things. It's the euphoria, and it comes with it. Well, do stay tuned on AM Ghana. Don't go anywhere. My name is Reginald Addy, and with me is a lady in green, Ijoma Juliana. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa. Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Well, welcome from that well-deserved break. I take it that you took the cue from our sponsors. So, yes, Verna Mineral Water, drink from Verna, Rwand Air, your best option when it comes to safety and your security. Top it up with affordability right there in the air as you travel. Well, it's time for the newspaper headlines, and I know that Reginald is ready, giddy, to jump into it. So I leave the floor for him to start. Reginald, take it off.
Do giddy. Let's just go slow but sure. I like the lines though, the air and the all that and the all that. Anyways, today we'll be speaking about writers and writing. Many are saying that the African man or the black man doesn't like to read. Oswald kicks so much against it. When we get there, we'll speak about it. Now let's look into the daily graphic. Now, government invests $1 billion in TVET institutions and commits to more funding. The story is on page 16 of the daily graphic. Now, in some graphic business or Stanbic breakfast meeting, experts to discuss pre-20 raises alarm bells. NPRA, that's the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, raises alarm bells. Says that only 6% informal sector workers on pension scheme, which is why we opened our doors to the NPRA for a full month and had a thorough education on pensions. It came out that indeed members in the private sector do not pay attention to their pensions. However, there are packages and there are avenues for you, especially in the private sector, to contribute towards your pension and enjoy these benefits while you are no longer in the strength to continue with the business. Quite a hefty paper today, I must say, the daily graphic. And so let me quickly jump in there. Curiosity kills the cat. Certainly not Reginald Daddy. So I'll go into the center spread on current LGBTQI++++ controversies. So there is a disagreement with pro-advocacy group. Well, so a quick highlight here says that based on this, I contend that the government of every country has the right to restrict the exercise of rights if it believes that the conduct of some private affairs of citizens can lead to negative repercussions. Based on this, I contend that the government of every country has the right to restrict the exercise of rights if it believes that the conduct of some private affairs of citizens can lead to negative repercussions. Well, there is an aspect here, and the writer of this article is actually a Catholic priest, Reverend Father Emmanuel Abe Kwe. He speaks about some risks. Let me quickly delve into it. He says that lastly, with health experts warning against the effects of LGBTQIAA++ activities, which include high risk of HIV, severe and mental psychological, it becomes urgent that these risky sexual behaviors are checked so that they do not trickle down to the general population. For all the reasons above, I disagree with the stance of the pro-LGBTQIAA++ advocacy group and contend that I won't mention the long name again. This LGBTQ are not rights but deviant sexual behaviors which must be legislated against to protect and safeguard our country's time-tested cultural, religious, and moral beliefs. So, well, grab a copy of this interesting write-up and read into it. Now, somewhere else, frequent African coup. Does it lie within political fault zone? Well, that's certainly a certain question to ask. NPRA opens fifth office in Tema. And so, well, in the bid to continuously spread or create the facility for people, especially those in the private sector, to contribute towards their pensions, the NPRA has opened a fifth office in Tema. Continuous disinfection of airports builds resilience against COVID-19. And we have an insert picture of Kotoka International Airport in Accra, which is currently being disinfected. The other onto the back page of the daily graphic. Daily graphic sports, they call it, had split points with Legon Cities. We have the Ghana Premier League table here, And interestingly, Bechem United is at number 1 with 3 points. Asante Kotoko follows right after Bechem, also with 3 points. Kim Faisal at 3 with 3 points as well. Ashanti Gold comes fourth. B Gold Stars. What's the B standing for? Well, we'll find out later. They also come at number 5. All of the top 5 with 3 points. At number 6 is House of Oak. It's okay. Those shouting phobia, it's okay. We beg. We understand. It's okay. I won't read again. That's Psalm 6 for the daily graphic. We'll leave it there. Grab a copy for yourself. Quite a heavy one.
Definitely. Definitely. Jealousy go shake against the back.
Exactly.
And I am privileged to do the most authoritative newspaper, that is the Ghanaian Times. And I'll do the first story here. Jospong Group of Companies Top Ghana Business Awards. Yes, we're talking about the Ghana Business Awards that took place on Friday. And we told that the Jospong Group of Companies, JGC, on Friday reinforced its dominance in the Ghanaian business sector by bagging 4 out of their 13 nominations. 13 nominations. They bagged 4 of them in the 4th edition of the Ghana Business Awards held in Accra. So some of the JGC nominated include JSA Logistics, Appointed Time Printing. So maybe you've heard, I think I've heard of Appointed Time Printing. Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, and Kumasi Compost and Recycling Plant, Integrated Compost and Recycling Plant, Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, and other individuals amongst the others. So for more on what ensued, who took what away, go to the page 10 of the Ghanaian Times. Again, President leads Ghana's delegation to UN COP 26 in Scotland, and that story is on page 16. So the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, is leading Ghana's delegation to the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties. That's the COP 26, which opened in Glasgow, Scotland yesterday. He will join the World Leaders Summit, a special session of the 12-day event where presidents and global personalities will speak on how to accelerate action towards the goals of the Paris Agreement and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. So there is still more on that on the middle spread of the Ghanaian Times. Then we have the Mr. Joseph Tete saying here, I will support the fight against illegal sale of bone Katamanso lands. I'll support the fight against illegal sale of Bone Katamanso lands. That story is also on page 15. The caption I got yesterday was saying that it's a yellow fever disease, but here it's saying region, and 8 people are recorded to have passed on as a result of this so far. The story is on page 17. It's saying at least 8 people have died from what health authorities suspect to be yellow fever, the yellow fever disease in the Savannah region. The affected persons are nomads from the yellow fever. Vaccinations. So according to the Ghana Health Service, it was awaiting final laboratory confirmation on earlier tests. This. All right.
Take your time.
I can't even if I take my time, I don't think I'll be able to.
Yes, you can.
Debbie.
Just take your time.
Anka Mejama Salasi, but he's just laughing at the back there. So I don't know. Okay, so fevers like Ebola, Lassa. Have you heard of Lassa?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Marburg and Zika. They all had proved negative. So we have a picture of Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, Director General of GHS. I think everybody should die.
I mean, when we're done with the newspapers, we'll speak on some of those things that came over on the weekend. And I think that our producer should try and get us the doctor who is mentioned it, so that we ask some relevant questions. I believe that Selassie and his team would definitely get us the doctor on the line. Exactly.
So let's do a little on sports. When it comes to local sports, here is game of possession with purpose.
You would at last prevail.
Even in this
Try
one.
again. Then your courage should appear. For if you persevere on that, the course that you just gave.
Don't worry, I will by all means come back.
Let's get on it. I think
worry.
you've spoken some, words, and viewers are watching. Viewers want to understand. We have the mouthpiece of
Yes,
the populace,
yeah.
and I'm
Reginald
speaking
is
on
using
behalf
words.
of the many who may want to understand.
The phone lines
what
are
you
open.
have just.
Anybody who wants to, you can call in. Don't worry, let's go on. On the daily guide, 117 get fish ponds from Bui Power Authority, and that story is on page 6. 117, that's quite a good number to get fish ponds from Bui Power Authority. Arrest them. Otumfo charges the police. And now, when you charge the police, you should be ready to see something, because with Dampare on the throne, we know we are seeing wonders. We're seeing wonders. You should, there are people with testimonies. So when Otumfo says, arrest them, I know we're going to see a lot. That story is on page 3. But what catches my eye here is police chase Medina MP to church. We're talking about Francis Xavier Sosu. The story is also on page 3, and I believe this has got to do with one demonstration they had.
Yeah, on October 25th, the people of Medina held a demonstration, to protest bad roads in the constituency.
Yeah.
And they burnt tires, amongst other things. It's alleged that they destroyed some properties as well. And the allegation goes further on to say that this demonstration was actually incited by the Member of Parliament for Medina, lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu. And so there was a first attempt to, get at him by the Ghana Police Service. That failed. And then a second time, that was yesterday at church, where they approached, they told the pastor was like, oh, he's preaching. Indeed, lawyer Xavier Sosu is a preacher. So he was preaching at church. And so the pastor insisted that they should wait for him to finish preaching. And then he did, in fact, announce to him that, but, it has been a back and forth between the legislator and the maintainers of law and order in the country. The argument has trickled down that members of parliament actually make those laws that these policemen tend to maintain. However, there are some caveats or some privileges, for members of parliament. And so this back and forth, the police over the weekend has been in the news for quite some time, especially when you compare what happened in the Ashanti region, for instance, where there was a clash between the police and the military as well. There is some problem in the internal structure of security. I'm talking about policing in the country, which needs to be checked. But I'm not so shaken, because we have Dr. Dampare on the throne, and I think that some of these things will be dealt with. Let me say kudos to the military and the police for that joint press release to indicate that they were going to look into those matters. And on Honorable Susu's side, I think we'll talk more about it when we get to what happened over the weekend. All right.
Okay. So talking about what happened over the weekend, Nana in Scotland for climate change summit, and I think I did that on the Ghanaian Times earlier on, so I'll leave that alone. But NDC accepted election 2020 results. And for more on that, I think you should visit page 6 of the Daily Guide. I want to jump to some sports. I'm not going to do anything we've already done, so okay. Spurs win won't erase Liverpool's humiliation. Spurs win won't erase Liverpool's humiliation. That's from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there. All right. Samson Dean.
Is it what?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Samson Dean gets Africa post. Don't worry, he's trying his best.
Ole, wait.
We are not perturbed. not moved. And I just mentioned the name Samson, so let's go on.
Come again.
Samson
You should come again on that one.
On which one?
Ole waiting.
That one is not my language, but he's that Kweku. The Kweku saga will come back. Don't worry. Samson didn't get Africa Post.
It's not my fault. It's Kweku Freeport.
So there's a picture of Samson Dean there. President of the National Paralympics Committee, Samson Dean, was yesterday elected new head of the African Paralympics Committee at the ongoing General Assembly in Rabat, Morocco. Wow. Okay. Kudos to you and congratulations on that. Let's see if there's... Okay, that's it. I don't think entertainment news. You people are too entertained. We just came back from the weekend. So go on.
Why you downplaying the entertainment
Ghana, we do
industry?
Too much.
We do too much of it, eh?
Yes, too
I
much.
think we actually do politics more than we do entertainment. I mean, go across most morning shows this Monday and you realize that it's mostly all about politics. Entertainment is usually dedicated to the Friday, so we usually have, and if out of the week we have only 3 days dedicated to entertainment, Friday, Saturday, even Sunday is not for entertainment, it's for worship. So usually it's just Friday and Saturday.
See how he's trying to convince me eagerly. No,
I think I'm not trying to convince you. I think that it's something that exists within us, and to think about the fact that we pay less attention to religion, I would say has been the bane of most of these problems that we find ourselves within. It has come to be a thing as though Sundays are the only days that we can ever, speak about God. Sundays are the only days that we dedicate
I'll beg
to.
to differ a little. It's Sunday morning, not even the whole day.
Wow.
Because right after church,
the rest
happens.
Joins. The rest happens. Well, these are very, common social concerns. But let's move into the Daily Statesman. NPP wants police to investigate Mahama over ballot stuffing claims. Well, you see the story on page 3 of the Daily Statesman. Another story here, President attends COP26 summit in Glasgow, Scotland. Ijoma would say Scotland. SNIT assures explosion won't affect its operations. SNIT assures explosion won't affect its operations. The story is on page 2. We have a picture of the Director General of SNIT, John Ofori Tinkrang. The big story here, Christianity becoming a nuisance. Christianity becoming a nuisance. Trinity Theological Seminary president condemns errant prophets. Now, quickly before I go to the back page, I'm going to solicit Ijoma's thoughts on this one. Julia, what do you think? Do you really side with Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah Gyedu, who says that Christianity is becoming a nuisance?
No.
You don't side with him?
No.
Why don't you side with him? Do you think that he could be wrong in that pronouncement?
Yes, I think he could be wrong, unless his Christianity is in quotes.
Well, it's certainly not in quotes on the front page. So I don't know.
Maybe you need to read a little more what he means by Christianity. You know that sometimes when we're delving into what people claim or what their thoughts or what they have commented, we need to look at what exactly they said, the context of what. I mean, how.
Okay, so the president of the Trinity Theological Seminary at Legon, Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah Gyedu, has bemoaned the fact that Christianity is gradually becoming a nuisance as a result of the conduct of some men and women in their cassock and members. Reverend Professor Asamoah Gyedu, who is a minister of the Methodist Church, Ghana, is particularly worried that some members of the clergy, especially those who identify themselves as prophets, engage in various acts which are not in consonance with the doctrine of Christianity. You see them sometimes kicking people, others stripping people naked, stepping on the bellies of pregnant women. So it's almost like religion or
In Mortal Kombat.
well, so it says that so it's almost like religion or Christianity, which is something that's to build, has become a nuisance. It's stated as the weekend on Newsfile on Joy News. So he says that if you read a theology of prophecy from what Paul, I don't want to go into prophecy, but he highlights other things, money making. He says that the man who is in charge of the raising of members of the clergy, mainly for the Orthodox churches, stated that he has lost faith in most of the people parading as prophets, saying a lot of them had turned the prophet venture. More than half of the people who consider themselves prophets, I don't consider them to be prophets. All you have to do is to interrogate what they do in the light of biblical teaching, and you realize that a lot of them are just doing it for commercial purposes or economic reasons. Now, I think you're siding with him.
Yes. So that's what when you were reading and you had to make the full quote that he made, there was just one word that differentiated it from the headline there. Seems. He said, it seems like Christianity is becoming a nuisance, and that changes everything. Right.
So the headline actually took the seemingly nature of the pronouncement out. Well, he mentioned some checks. He says that he acknowledged the fact that the state cannot prohibit people from freely exercising their religious rights, adding, however, it can institute mechanisms to check the conduct of errant pastors. So, yes, he has added his voice to what recently came out from the list of the IGP. He was going to check prophets who make is it open pronouncements or open prophecies about people's lives, amongst other things. Good presentation there by Reverend, and I couldn't side with him any less. Now let's go to the back page of the Daily Statesman. Manchester United will respond to Liverpool thrashing to sink sorry Spurs. Another story here. Aguero taken to hospital with chest injury as Barca draw first match, sings Coman sacking. And we call that a psalm for the Daily Statesman.
Well, I have with me the Umkhonto Wesizwe. That's the spear of the nation. I'm talking of the True Independent, which is the Chronicle. And right here, police avert a bloodbath in Manya Krobo. Police avert a bloodbath in Manya Krobo as traditional warriors. You're asking if they still work. They do. As traditional warriors capture chief at Deba grounds. Have you heard of this?
No.
Yeah, I've seen a picture here of some burnt canopies.
Traditional warriors.
Yes,
capture chief.
They capture the chief. This is like some tribal coup d'etat or something.
Just as Reverend Professor is losing faith in some prophets, I am certainly losing faith in some aspects of our traditional system. And the other day, when I heard that some sects were calling for a region to be changed into what they prefer, I shrugged and I shuddered to think this would bring any consequence or any development. These things should be checked. Because the traditional system is also part of the governance structure of the country. And if we are losing hope, some Ghanaians are claiming to lose hope in, the political leaders, and they would perhaps want to bank on the traditional rulers. They say that religion is the opium of the masses. So maybe when other sectors have failed, they would want to look into the religion as well. The religious leaders are there. The traditional leaders are also religious leaders. I'm hoping that they will put in some morals, because they are the custodians of our customs, and our customs have a lot of morals in there, only for them to engage in such unnecessary, unwarranted.
And what is sad is that anytime we have to hear from the traditional part of our country, it always has to do with things like this. I mean, it's always, most of the time, negative news. We never hear this chief or this traditional area has set up this for the youth. We never hear, okay, they've given this acres of land for you know, this
Farming
development,
or
this
whatsoever.
we don't hear things like that. What we are hearing is that they are selling lands. What we hear is that the youth they've some way somehow routed up some youth, and they are doing this, they are doing that. We need to hear something positive. We need to hear something positive.
Certainly,
So
we need to hear
no
something.
wonder we are hearing opium of the masses coming from him. But Christianity is not part of that opium
They
of the
say
masses.
religion, Christianity
It's
is
actually
the biggest.
Sigmund Freud who made that statement. And that
Exactly.
man is known to be a wacko. So let's continue.
He's not a wacko. He is not a wacko. It's actually, there is some truth in there. And when he said that, when he made that statement, he was actually referring to Christianity.
Yes, he
and
was.
when you look at what Christianity has become today, I can pick another segment or another aspect from what Prof has said and dive into something else. But let's leave it for another day.
Yo, what come at? So there's a picture of Nene Tete Zogli, the third, right there. I think we will leave that story. And we'll get updates, I'm sure, as the week unfolds. But we have a picture of Mr. Alan Tremanting, Alan Cash, here, and he's promising jobs for the youth. You know what that means, right? He's promising jobs for the youth. In what capacity, I don't know. You have to grab a copy of this newspaper.
Interesting how this. Let me quickly jump onto this. Interesting how you know there's a promise for job for the youth, because today actually happens to be the end of the NAPCO. How should I call it? Is it exercise? Thank you. Today is the last day.
Last day.
About 48,000 beneficiaries have been asked to proceed on a mandatory leave. We know this style, and it's scary because we've seen it before. Well, for me, I know this style. I've seen it before, and it scares me. It's scary. But well, I know some of the conversations that would, you know, emanate from this. So we'll get to that segment where we speak about happenings over the weekend. Let's quickly go through the newspaper. But I'm taking particular notice. I'm bookmarking this headline.
Yeah. NAPCO. And talk about the registrations or the screening exercises that have been going on over the course of last week. And then NAPCO, 48,000 youth coming to join.
So you're getting the whole debate.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll get there. Small.
Clamping down on illegal connections. So ECG is coming for you. I remember reading something like this last 2 weeks on ECG and illegal connections. So ECG institutes a reward for informants. So this is the time that chukes you can make money. Yeah, it can be a job. Make money. People, I
think I rushed in choking the guy at my backyard. I should have waited for this announcement and I took him.
But I think we want to know what the reward is.
The guy, he's something else. Even right now, he's not using meter, but he's getting electricity.
When we were in Osu, for those who know me, they will know I had.
Well, you see, I'm saying this boldly because nobody can come and challenge me that I'm abetting crime. But I have reported over and over and over. And when the officials come, they park their vehicles, they have a conversation, they move their vehicle back, and the guy is still using the light. So I wonder, what actually happens? Maybe I should investigate that one as well. Yeah, so those guys are confident.
In our system, this week, this thing was consciously, I was just thinking about it all the time, and it some way, somehow proves true that our system makes it seem as if when you do the right thing, you rather end up losing.
Yes, so last week, I said the same thing when issues about the IGP popped up. Okay. I said that we are so accustomed to wrongdoing such that we think that the right thing is the wrong thing. So we live in a society where the one that speaks the truth is hated.
Yes.
We live in a society, and I say that this thing stems from childbirth, where they tell you that when a grown-up does something wrong, you don't point it out to them. How else should I tell the grown-up that he is wrong? At a point, I said that one thing I regret was being too obedient. Yes, because it affected me to the extent that when a grown-up is teaching you a wrong thing, you dare not look.
Yes.
Sometimes a little child can teach a grown-up what they should know.
Yes.
But in our society, we've been taught
it's a taboo.
Yes, it's a taboo. So we've been taught that, mediocrity, whatever it is. And so I don't know what they call it, but it is, they are teaching us how to lie.
Yes.
Lies is when you see the truth and you do otherwise. When you know the truth and you do otherwise. Seeing is knowing.
Yeah.
And it has grown with us. We are in a society. Oh, when you do evil, you are back.
Yes.
And then when somebody comes in to do the right thing, you hear justifications like, na jaina na omani mo ayedin na oye yi kakra na ayedin onimbre amanfo ebre. So he should do the wrong thing.
Yeah. And now,
exactly.
And then, not to cut you short on that one. Just yesterday, I was talking about this because my mom was watching a Nigerian movie, and I was complaining about it. That this is why our country is like this, because most of even our movies always centers on people. Even if the movie is 1 hour, you have the first 45 minutes. Lamenting, should I say lamenting? No, not lamenting. It's like we are saying is to show how the person suffered. What if I missed the ending of the movie? So, so that is what we do. And when you say right from our childhood, it's very true. We have that Kwekwanansi mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Kwekwanansi always teaches us how to outwit others. So you see somebody, especially when you see our trotro drivers, you understand. Everybody is in the queue, and they don't want to follow the queue. Because some way, somehow, they always have their way as well. So the system is structured, unfortunately, in a way that seems like evil always prevails over good. And when you tend to stick to the right path, it will not amount to anything. You find yourself backtracking, and those who are doing the wrong things. So anyway, it seems like we are being emotional. So let's move on. Adenta residents protest against erratic power supply. And if you are with me, it's not just Adenta. Ashoman Estate, since I was home, I don't know what you've been doing to the same thing. Why? What is going on?
Okay, so I just got information from ECG that it's because you decided to stay home. Yeah. Okay. So they're saying it's because you decided to stay home. Next time, come to work, they'll provide light for the people in the area.
But on Friday, there was power outage here too. Okay, let's continue. We need a united front to break the 8. That's coming from Intim. So Mr. Steve Ayesu Intim, right there, talking to his people, a united front. Unity is everything. So I don't know if he's siding with Alan Cash or whatever there, but you have to read, grab, and you see how Chronicle can get us conversing like this. So before I do the little quotation down there, let me see if they have something different. All right, I think, hey, who told you? I'm not even going to read that. So let's go. You take his, and then I come with the last.
I am done. Do everything. I'm done.
You are done?
Yeah, I'm done with my papers.
Okay, so let's go. Proverbs 24, verse 11. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. I'll rescue you, don't worry.
Who is being taken away to death? I am not being taken away.
I'm giving you the assurance that I'm a shoulder.
I shall not die. I will live and declare the works of the Lord.
And one of the reasons
I will not
why
die
you
through
will not
accidents. I will not die through diseases. I will not die before my time. I will die when the Lord has called me.
Amen.
So find somebody else to save on that
So
one.
if he should be able to make this quote, is because he has support from people like us. Amen. So rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. Sometimes you feel like pushing them in. But
Okay, so, well, that's it for the newspaper headlines. Princess Ijoma just finished with the Chronicle newspaper. We've taken you through 6 of the newspapers. You can visit www.adwanewsonline.com for some other news headlines as well, especially what is trended over the weekend. You're watching AM Ghana here on Adoatv Television. My name is Reginald Adin. I'm here with Julia Ijoma. Producer says I should tell you that next time you shouldn't wear green to work anymore. We'll be right back after this break. Go on.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
CB makeup now. Amaka, correct. Why your best mankasa? That's it. You want oh, middle. You captures back on CB makeup sauce. You see, CB makeup capsules na make a year.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules now. You knew the dada. And 1 year packaging I had.
Wow! What a packaging! CB men, any CB women capsules, no packaging is out. And you also no mood any bianza no apple when peggy.
Share a painful, any about town man for any quadruple and come home.
Susanna, Ghana man, Tamasi.
Dodo Afre 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aji edredin kato yatu.
Water, but when I get your mouth, and that's all I order. The rock my fire.
Malaria and tea. Papa, you are yet more bono.
What you are doing here?
Malaria there for you. Enti awo ashire customers ni wa hu ne se mami aye smart abe CB malakio amma ne baya odi ko school she se aduane si berry market chi ani malaria nti a ontimi ni onya enti na ho ema we mu biara to wo se wo ye malaria test na bi wo mu a edra beti wa ene CB malakio ye di nuna ne hahama na keka bom asone so aye CB malakio edra wo so de enya no kra o aye tata she
Edro yi nyema apemfo abate a wo ma nufuo ene nkwada a woni mfie dumie
Suziana what would you with
FDA ahwehwe saa ejedie nkrato yi mu age atomu se enye.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
water. But when I take your map, and that's all I better order. The rock my fire.
Malaria nti abayiwa yejuma bono.
What you have to feed it.
Malaria therefore ya o. Enti awo ahire ne customers ni. Wa hu ne se maami aye smart. Abe CB Malakio. Amma ne ba ya odi ko school. She se aduane si berry market tie ni malaria nti a ontimi ni. Onia ent na ho ema we mu biara to wo. So we have malaria test. Maybe we want a better one and the CB Malakio. Yedinuna, Hahama, and now can come a sonny so I CB Malakio. And no way so dear, and I know grow. I yet that shit.
A drawing near my appeal for about a woman for any quada one in fear.
Susiana, what would you with
FD Ashusha sa a jedi and crack to you.
Yes, thank you for staying tuned. It's still the AM Ghana on Adoatv where we bring good things to life. Bringing good things to life is my hobby, and it's also the hobby of the gentleman with me in the studio here who has been trying his best to make you smile. You were the one recording.
It's Na Anyema.
Okay.
Collison.
Na Anyema Collison. Na Anyema, today
Did
you are
Collison?
I said Collison.
Okay.
Na Anyema today is like you are the star here, right here on
so
the
it's
AM
Na Anyema Collison. You mentioned it with flair. Okay. Na Anyema Collison.
Na Anyema Collison.
Thank you. That was even better. It's not Na Aglima Collision, please. Okay. Thank you.
So
sometimes
you just have to make them have their way. It's an ego thing. We understand. So going talking about ego and hey, really okay.
Whose ego? Whose ego are you going to rub? Well, we have some notes. I asked that we bookmark Alan Cash's pronouncement. I think a quick reading to that, because thing, I mean, that is obvious, is that you know, headlines can be a bit deceptive.
Yes.
Exactly. So let's quickly do that quick read and then.
All right, that's on page 2, still on the Chronicle newspaper, page 2. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, has outlined the government's latest plan to create sustainable jobs at the local government level. Am I hearing right? Hey,
let's hear more. Let's hear more.
This industrialization transformation, the minister says, will be done through a 10-point comprehensive and integrated program. Speaking at the 2021 orientation program for metropolitan, municipal and district executives. I think there should be chief there, right? But there isn't. Okay, district executives, Mr. Kyerematen stressed that the industrialization measures job opportunities and to a large extent reduce poverty and make Ghana the new manufacturing hub for Africa. Promoting local enterprises is the only guarantee for sustainable growth of the economy, creating jobs and building a prosperous Ghana, the minister stated. Components of the program, the ministry said, will include stimulus package. That's what I'm waiting for existing local industries, the One District, One Factory, that's the 1D1F initiative, strategic anchor industries initiative, industrial parks and special economic zones, and small and medium enterprises, that's SMEs development. Other aspects to be relied on are industrial subcontracting, export development, domestic retail trade. Wow, that includes, okay, business regulatory reforms and public-private dialogue. The totality of these is to, among other things, scale up the supply value chain in the country. Also to enhance public-private partnerships economic diversification. This is diverse. I'll leave it at that. There's a small mistake there, so you check it. Create friendly business environments and promote value-added exports. Talking about exports. Should I go on?
Go on.
All right, just a little more. SME development. This component of the 10-point plan, for instance, is designed to support directly the growth of the MSMEs across the country. It will include the establishment of Ghana Enterprises Agency, that is GEA, for the restructuring and rebranding of National Board for Small-Scale Industries. Small-scale industries into Ghana Enterprises Agency under the GEA Act as the apex institution for SMMEs development in Ghana. Also, 67 business resource centers in 67 districts nationwide. Is that a sentence? Chronicle, today you are disappointing me small. Okay, so the BRC, that's the Business Resource Centers, is a one-stop enterprise support center providing a full range of business development services, investment facilitation and information services, and regulatory services to entrepreneurs and business enterprises at the district level. So, talking about entrepreneurs, this looks like massive support for entrepreneur skills.
So well,
the first sentence, I
it's
still see
all
local
of
government
these.
level.
All of these policies, I think, have been established to, augment the entrepreneurial sector in the country, if there is anything like entrepreneurial sector in the country. But let me just put it that way,
okay.
Right? Ever since that pronouncement came from the Finance Minister Kenneth Orieta, that graduates should look into setting up their own business or go into the private sector. There has been questions about how conducive the environment, the economic environment in Ghana itself is to the private sector and to entrepreneurship. And a very good friend of mine, Mr. Cyril Jones Okay, who is also an entrepreneur, has also raised concerns about this very pronouncement. I have a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs, and myself, I'm an entrepreneur, so we've had conversations about some of these things. However, it is not far from true that the economic environment in the country is challenging and to some greater extent unfriendly to entrepreneurs. Now, most of these entrepreneurs are those in, I don't know if they even qualify to fall under MSMEs, that is micro, small to medium scale enterprises. I sincerely do not know, because most of these entrepreneurs are now doing online businesses. I don't know how well they're considered into the MSMEs frame. You come to another point of what these people would want to do with their lives or with their time in such hard economic times. And this is one thing that has been the major bane of what we are seeing now in our country. We the queues for that are piling up for recruitment, the calls for several policies that would help entrepreneurs, amongst other things. However, it's not to say that the government has not put measures in place to see to the development of entrepreneurs in the country. But I'm saying that with all of these policies, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, YEA, what have you, I don't know about NAPCO. They're saying that some of the NAPCO beneficiaries are now have now been equipped with skills that can make them entrepreneurs. I know of a friend who goes to the office to sleep under a table, and when he closes, he just packs his bag and goes home. And at the end of the month, was taking that 7 years. So I wonder what skills that very friend would have been equipped with. Certainly in the BAR, when the president was on a working tour, he indicated that they were going to absorb and make some NAPCO beneficiaries permanent workers in some government institutions. He went on to give a tip that when a questionnaire was submitted to these NAPCO trainees, a greater percentage of them said that they wanted to be maintained in the public sector. Listen to this. They wanted to be maintained in the public sector, a greater percentage. And then the remaining percentage, which was very minimal, indicated that they would want to start their own venture. So you look at it and you realize if we were weighing this perhaps by benefits, because indeed the entire benefit of NAPCO was to equip these beneficiaries with the necessary skills so that when they are out of NAPCO, they can establish themselves. Okay. And so it is not out of order that Honorable Alan Tremantin also comes out to indicate, you know, all of these entrepreneurial policies, blah, 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 what have you. It is happening because they have realized that if the government can no longer absorb people into the public sector, then indeed the next thing to do is to, you know, resource people, especially the youth, to be entrepreneurs. However, like I am saying, you can't just institute policies when the exchange rate is not friendly, when inflation is killing the business space, you know, when the banks are not lending, when the banks are making so much demands, you know, before they give out capital. And when, you know, where should these people, in fact, find funding from? They go to the banks and they want to gain some loan. They have some very good business plans. And you know that when you're setting up a business, in fact, for the first 5 years, you shouldn't even think about breaking even. You shouldn't think about profits. But perhaps at the end of the 5th year, you can think of breaking even before you think about making profits. How are these people going to, you know, squeeze themselves through all of these things? Because as it is, like we saw the many people piling up for the immigration process and the other services processes, we came to a conclusion that not all of these people are unemployed. Some of them are partially employed. Some of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them are gainfully employed in some sectors, but they want the betterment of their license. So they will look to other sectors as well. And so if these people who would want greater and better avenues are not even getting the first-hand avenue to become the entrepreneurs that they want to become, then what are you telling the people? It should go hand in hand, vis-a-vis with, you know, all of these macroeconomic indicators. They should be properly managed. They can at least absorb, you know, people into the entrepreneurial, like I said, sector, if there is anything like that.
There's this, while you were talking, I was just going back. There's this news item, I think I saw yesterday. Okay, so it's dated 30th, so that's Saturday. Ghana ranked top investment destination in West Africa.
That's what we keep hearing. So it is backed by you know, the establishment of the AFCFTA Secretariat in Ghana. It is also backed by seeing Twitter establish its African headquarters in Ghana. There's a West African headquarters in Ghana. It is also backed by, you know, a few other FDIs from other, you know, other countries in the country, some franchises in the country as well, and other things. But then the point again is that apart from those who have the wherewithal, those those companies that have the wherewithal, that, you know, have some supporting or parent companies elsewhere that is supporting the offspring. What about those who are within? If those who are within, they say that charity begins from home.
Exactly.
And so if those who are within are not feeling how do you say investment have? Ghana has been,
Ghana has been ranked the best country in West Africa to invest in.
In West Africa.
And a SIF for the whole of Africa.
I see.
But then that is I mean, it's in pidgin. I don't do good at all when it comes to pidgin, so I can't read any parts. But there's this small paragraph here which says operating environment, fiscal scores, and development plans. I think these have been targeted as the basic keys to investment, to attract investment. But
let's take those again.
Operating environment, fiscal scores, and development plans are the basic keys to attract investment. And I'm looking
as
at
for
this.
the operating environment, well,
So
I will side with it based on you know the failure of some institutions to do their necessary checks. When you hear that the operational environment in the country is that conducive, it is not all because there is some good news, you know, at the back of it, but it is as a result of mostly negligence on the side of most of our institutions, especially those institutions that are supposed to provide and that are supposed to safeguard some sectors for the indigenous Ghanaians, you know, closing their eyes to some of these things and allowing foreigners to take over those sectors. And so it becomes conducive indeed for them.
So that's the point I wanted to launch.
It is conducive again when the barriers of entry are that low.
For them.
Yes, for them.
Exactly.
And so anybody comes in, establishes anything, thrives, and pay less attention to the people. Indeed, to these people, it is a thriving or an enabling environment.
Yes.
Now, what about the people within?
Once
I always
again,
end with that question.
Yes. Once again, we see Ghana always looking attractive. We do everything to look nice to the outsider, but then the people at home are suffering.
Exactly.
That's what we always do. So sometimes we see these things and then we think that they are rather indicators that the nation is booming. I mean, everything is looking okay. But the people inside are suffering. People here are suffering. People have good ideas. Somebody even has a little capital that maybe with just a little push can be able to do something. But we look at what the person is bringing in, and then we see what the white person is bringing in. Even when you want to, even here in Accra, who would you, if you were a landlord, who would you give your apartment to?
Certainly.
To the foreigner?
Exactly.
Or to? So we don't, would it be patronizing? We don't want to patronize, yes. For our own people, we
Speaking about patronage, not to take the wind out.
No, don't worry, I was getting emotional again.
Now, yeah, I want to refer to a post that I saw on Facebook about a gentleman who was making shoes, you know, here in the country. He was making shoes for the military, the Ghana Police Service. So then he went to see one of the officials of the Ghana Police Service, showed him the boots, and indeed, after scrutinizing the boots, the police official, was impressed.
Okay.
However, he said that he could not help the gentleman. The gentleman pleaded, "Oh, boss, you let me do small, at least select few. Let me produce for them, and let's take it up from there." The police official was like, "Oh no, I can't help you. You know, most of our shoes are imported." And so, you get a point?
Yeah.
Yes. So, this is an entrepreneur, right? He has decided, he has found a problem and provided a solution
to it.
For the problem. You see, there is this mediocrity in us as a country, and it trickles down to the last individual, that everything we have must come from an external or a foreign land.
Yes, and papa.
And yes, and papa. When the Ghanaian makes it, and papa. So the Ghanaian man, ordinary Ghanaian, is subjected to learning how to repair.
Oh.
So when the foreign boots for the policemen are brought into the country and they wear out, guess who repairs them?
The one who has the ability to do.
So if you have the mechanisms, if you have the knowledge, the know-how to make boots for Ghana Police Service, it is sad but we live in a country where that knowledge would have to trickle down to mediocrity, and it will reduce down to mediocrity to the extent that all of that knowledge would be left at repairs.
Yeah, we
So we have a highly skilled artisans who can build, you know, vehicle parts, but they are reduced to repairers.
Yeah.
We have companies that can, you know, do so much, but they are reduced to retail.
Yeah.
They have to import and retail, because in itself the markets that would boost their businesses locally are not there. So we have the rice farmer in the country who doesn't have access to drying machines, so they have to dry their rice on the sun. Now look at this weather, the current weather that we have. The sun will be there for 5 minutes, and the next thing
before
you
you
realize
know it,
it's raining. And drying in the sun is indeed not, you can't compare it to drying in an oven.
with the dust and everything.
With the dust and everything. And then at the end of the day, you want the local rice farmer to compete with who?
With the
You want the local rice, long grain rice. You want the local farmer to compete with all of these persons. Look, we have long grain rice farmers in the country, but it ends up not being or not coming out with that true quality because we don't have the processes to take them through. And this same rice farmer would want to go to the bank for a loan to buy his own machine, because he knows that when he buys the machine, he will be able to compete. He will be able to produce and compete with those international brands that are coming out into the country. But somebody who imports rice knows that the rice farmer, when he is able to buy the machine, will compete with his importation business. And so some you know, 1 or 2 measures are put in place, and Charlie.
So
now I think I'm also becoming emotional.
We're killing.
So we are killing ourselves. We are
ourselves.
killing our individual, indigenous businesses. And you want to tell somebody to become an entrepreneur? You want to tell somebody to start from tabletop? You want to tell somebody to start with 1 cedi 50 pesos?
You know, looking at it, even telling somebody to start like that is not a bad idea in itself. But we understand exactly what he's saying. Telling somebody to, go and start something. You've acquired enough knowledge from the university. I think you can go and start something by yourself. But what makes it a problem, why we see an issue with what that statement is that even if I go out there and I start, who is going to help me? The little I get, even if I want to push, who is going to be my support? You are going to be the very people who are going to demand I pay 1,000 Ghana cedis for that, just for that signature for approval. You are going to be the very person who, when you see I'm making it a little bit, your demands are going to go higher. The taxes and all these things, they are going to make sure they pull you down. We always do that to our
ourselves, our indigenous companies, our entrepreneurs, those who want to seek to, and I must admit that, look, there are lots of people, like I told you, I have a clique of entrepreneurs that, you know, we judge all together. Most of them started and they dropped off at a point. So it is not as, we can't entirely say that people don't want to become entrepreneurs. People don't want to. People try.
They've tried.
They get in there. They get in there, and they are not even making ends meet. You know, from their daily hustle. And so at the end of the day, they ask themselves, why should I continuously do this? Some even try to persist because they believe that persistence is key. And when you listen to the little poem I gave about trying again, it says, do not persevere, you will conquer. People have tried to persevere and they have rather been what? Conquered.
Being conquered.
They do not end up conquering. And so, you see, all of these things shows how apparent difficulties exist within the economic sector. So we are bound to hear, you know, from the finance ministry come December about the fiscal policy for 2022. And I'd really be looking out what will be churned out for entrepreneurs, or how to create that enabling environment for people I beg your pardon, especially the youth
Yeah.
to take up their own businesses.
Not
And
just
one
for
mistake,
foreign investors.
not just for foreign investors. One mistake that we also tend to do as a country is again the neglect in the economic sector, making the economic environment viable for businesses. Most of these entrepreneurs, as I said earlier, are doing businesses online. Most of them unregistered, but they find, the internet and social media as a feasible means of conducting business. And I will tell you what, business is booming on social media. Most of these businesses are unfortunately not registered. What would it take for a nation to create the environment for people to establish their own jobs and then tax these people? And let's see how wide or wider we can broaden the tax net. You can't tax these people. I mean, Wankasa, you've not created the environment for them, and then all you think about is tax. Go to Mokola right now. There are a lot of people who run away from taxes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people who are running away from taxes, not because they cannot afford, but first off, they do not even see what those taxes are being used for.
Them. Yes.
They don't see how it benefits them. And so somebody will just feel reluctant to pay taxes. How is it that a Christian understands paying tithes, but the same Christian who is conducting business does not want to pay tax? When indeed in the church it is being preached that give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Now this pronouncement came as a result of taxation.
Yes.
And it said that give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give unto God what belongs to God. And giving unto God is that 1/10 of your earnings, which we call tithing.
Yeah.
But the same people, when they go into the market, when they go into their business, they don't want to pay taxes. Probably because they see the churches at least doing some renovation.
Yes.
They see the churches doing some painting.
Yeah, building a school, doing this.
Certainly.
Yeah. And then, you know, they have their ways of showing you, especially when it's getting to the harvest season in the churches, showing you what they did with your last money. So I think that it can apply.
If I know that when I pay my tithes, I go to the church and I sit in AC, I sit in comfortable chairs. Why wouldn't I pay my tithes?
Why won't you pay yours?
Now, about taxes, if I pay my taxes and I realize that I am still in the same bad situation.
Yes, I mean, talk about the market women paying their, they call it tolls, right? Tolls every day. And they also, and I always say that there are even indirect taxes everybody is liable to. And you see all these things, you are paying all these things. And where you are in the market is still, I mean, immediately it rains, there's trouble. Your goods are not secure at night. You have to make, go the extra. And there's one place at Makola I always fear going because of something I always see. You know them, and we call them the Makola Kwakwe. So even me, my seeing them is a little frightening for me, and I'm wondering what damage. Because when you see them, you know these ones, they are warriors.
They are sophisticated Kwakwes.
Hey! So I'm wondering who fed them.
They are enriched Kwakwes.
Who fed them?
Yeah, they are eating all the nutrients.
Exactly. So they are wasting somebody's
balanced diet.
But what is the market doing with it? Tolls that they collect from these women? I don't know how many sellers. I don't even know if they know the number. It
was only during the COVID-19 times that we saw the markets being disinfected and all that. But I mean, we are still in COVID-19 times, but with the severity that has reduced currently, thanks to, I mean, all of these management processes amongst other things. But we said exactly, we said that COVID-19 has become an eye opener. And there was a lot of, things. There were a lot of things